we will open Trello.com. Trello.com is where we will manage our application. We are going to follow agile methodology and track our progress using that. I will create a new board and name it Fumigator app. When I create it, we are going to get three default lists: the to do, doing, and done. Inside to do, we are going to define a user stories. And what is a user story? User story is a way in which we write functionality. This is the format. As a user, I want to perform certain action to accomplish certain goal. So the first user story I'm going to write is about scaffolding the Angular application. So as a tech lead, I want to scaffold an Angular application and connect it to Firebase so that I can start building my application. I will open the user story card and make an acceptance criteria list. It's going to be a checklist. Acceptance criteria are the criteria which, when fulfilled, indicate that the user story is finished and we can move on to the next one. These are the three acceptance criteria I want to keep for this particular user stories. You can pause the video and then check it out. All right, now this is done. We have moved it to the doing list. Okay, now we have opened a folder where we are creating this project. I will open the command prompt over here, drag it over. Now we will scaffold our Angular application with the ng new command. So ng new and the name of the application. Yes, we would like Angular routing. I will go with SCSS and it will install the packages and ready our application. Okay, it's done. Now we will enter into the working directory, cd fumigator app, and then open VS Code by using code space dot. So our VS Code is open. I will go to the terminal and serve the application by ng s and then dash o. That dash o will make a Chrome window open automatically. I'm choosing no for Google Diagnostic. So this is our Angular application, and whatever we see on the screen right now is the boilerplate code which Angular provides out of the box. We are going to get rid of it. So go to the VS Code application and go to the source folder. Inside the app folder, the app.component HTML. Over here, we are going to remove this code, except not all the code. We are going to keep the router outlet and we will use it in later videos for navigation purposes. All right, we are done. I'm going to make an H1 to see everything is working properly. Welcome to the Fumigator project. Yes. Let's save it and see if the changes are getting reflected. All right, so the changes are reflected. Our app is on localhost. So we can go to our user story and cross off this acceptance criteria. So that was easy. Now let us move on to the more meatier side of the things. I will open Firebase and go to Firebase. This is the screen I see. You might not see the same screen. You might have to log in with your Google ID. But once you log into Firebase, this is what you're going to see. Now what we have to do here is to get started. I'm going to click the get started button. All right, we will create a project. Project name for me is Fumigator app. Continue. We'll continue with Google Analytics. I will configure it, choose the default account, click on create project. Okay, so that took a little bit of time, but it's almost done. Okay, we can continue. Now that this is open, we are going to create a web application out of all the options. This one we are going to choose. And now let's register our application. So I will name my application Fumigator app. I will set up hosting as well, and I'll register the app. That is done. Now we have the option of integrating Firebase SDK. We are going to skip this step right now. We are going to deploy just a static website without any CRUD operations. So we will move on to the next step, which is installing the Firebase CLI. We will copy this command and then run it inside our VS Code terminal. Right, I'll create a new instance of PowerShell, paste this command and run it. Okay, so now this is done. Let's go to the next step, which is to deploy to Firebase hosting. I have made some changes, so I've added some emojis so that it looks a little bit better rather than just plain black text. And this is what we are going to deploy by the end of this video. We are going to log in with Firebase just like it says there. So let's copy the command and go to our VS Code terminal, paste it and run it. So since I was already logged into Firebase, it just happened for me. For you, what may happen is that your Chrome browser or whatever browser you are using, it will open up and you will have to log in with your Google ID. Okay, we need to build our Angular application before we can deploy it. So for that, search for angular.json, and inside the angular.json file, we are going to search for build, and in the output path, we are going to make some changes. So right now the output path is set to dist and then the name of your application. We are going to change this and remove the application name so that our final bundle is present in the dist folder itself and not inside another rooted folder. So I've done that, and now we are going to run the ng build command. This will build our application, and Angular is going to bundle everything inside the dist folder. So now on your left hand side, you will see a new folder called dist, and all our assets are going to be over here. So this step is complete. We're going to go to Firebase and do some more setup activities. On the top right, there's go to console. So click on that and choose your application, Fumigator app in my case. And we are going to create some resources. So go to the build section on the left hand side navigation menu and click on Cloud Firestore. Let's create new, and we are going to go with start in production mode because I'm making a real application, and I'm going to click next. Now I will choose a location which is nearest to me physically. Since I'm in India, I'm going to choose Mumbai and click on enable. This is done. Next thing we are going to do is choose a real-time database. The same steps, I'm going to create a database. Go with the default option, click next. We are going to start in log mode. Enable it. Wait for a few minutes and it is set up. So the next thing we are going to do is get some storage to upload our files. And we're going to go to storage, click on get started. We will start in production mode like before. And then we'll click on done because cloud storage location has already been saved. Okay, now that is done. We are going to go back to our VS Code and do Firebase in it. We'll initialize our project. Okay, we are ready to proceed. Yes. Now these are the options which Firebase gives us. We will press space to select them and then finally press enter to finalize our selections. I will not be choosing functions here because that's a paid service and we don't have a billing account. Okay, storage emulator is done. Press enter. Yes, we will use an existing project. This is our Fumigator app which we made. If you have more than one, all of these will be listed over here. Right, that is finalized. Setting it up. Right, so there will be several default files which Firebase will prompt and we will accept them except when we are hosting. That is coming up. Firestore rules, default is okay. Firestore indexes, this is also fine. Press enter to make selection. Now, here is the place where we need to make some change. Instead of using the public directory, that is a directory named public, we will use the dist folder. This is the folder in which our Angular code is bundled up. If you remember, we just did it a few minutes ago, and we have all our project related files in the dist folder. We will configure it as a single page application. It's an SPA. Yes. We will not set up automatic builds. I don't have GitHub Actions, so just say no for now. Right. So we have an index.html file already present in the dist folder. We do not want to overwrite it. That file contains the code of our project. So I'm going to say no. And the rest of it, we can accept defaults again. For the emulators, I will get authentication, Firestore, database, hosting, and storage. This is so that we can run it locally. We'll be using it in later videos. I will go with default ports for the emulators. And I would like to enable the UI. Yes. I will go with port 3000 for the UI. Yes, I would like to download the emulators now. Alright, so our setup is complete. Now all that is left is to deploy our application on the internet. So let's go to the Firebase page, which we were referring earlier, and see what's the last step. Right, so it's not visible under my video, but it says Firebase deploy. We are going to go ahead and type it in our terminal. Click enter. Now it's doing its thing. It's deploying all the files which it set it up for us in the previous step. It's asking us for some cross service rules. So I'm going to say yes for this. Everything should be fine. It's still setting up things. Deployment is underway. Any moment now. Yes, our deploy is complete. You can see a hosting URL which says Fumigator app 749AD. Control click it and then click on open. This will open the URL in our browser, and here it is, our static website, which is available for anyone with an internet connection. And now we have deployed it and our user story is complete. We are going back to our Trello page and selecting all the things, checking off all the things, and then we are placing the story from doing to done. So that is it for the video. Hoping to see you in the next one. Bye bye.